is time to play the NBA free agency game. What is going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video. If you are new to the channel, welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for, of course, returning. And if you guys see, it's a little different setup behind me. I've got a whiteboard because I'm doing a special video, and it's the NBA free agency game that I told you guys I would be doing. And again, you guys see the whiteboard behind me. I've got all of the top free agents listed out with potential destinations next to them. So hopefully you guys can read this. I'll be going through each one of them and predicting where I believe they will end up this year in this year's free agency. So before I do get started, if you're new to the channel, make sure to go ahead and subscribe by clicking the subscribe button down below and turning on my post notifications by clicking the bell icon. It helps me out a lot. And you know what else helps me out a lot? When you guys follow me on my social media, my Twitter and my Instagram, links below for that. So with that being said, I don't want to wait any longer. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about NBA free agency, and let's go through each of these big names and get started. So how does this game work? Well, it's very simple. I just go through the list, and it's got all of the top free agents listed with the teams that are potentially interested in that free agent listed next to them, and I just try to predict where that free agent ends up. And then, of course, at the end of free agency, we can see how right or how wrong I was. So I will also give you guys like a quick reasoning for why I'm predicting that free agent to go to that certain team. Okay, so hopefully it all makes sense, but it should. Fairly simple. Let's get started. Okay, we got, in no particular order actually. I tried to do it in order, but it was just going to be too hard, too difficult. So I just listed out all the top free agents. And again, these are not all of the free agents. These are just the top 20 or so free agents going into this summer's free agency. Okay, so at the top, we will start with one Kevin Durant. Of course, we all know what happened with KD at the end of the NBA Finals, or during the NBA Finals, in which, of course, he tore his Achilles, and that changed everything for Kevin Durant. A lot of media, a lot of pundits were expecting KD to leave Golden State and go to the Knicks this summer and possibly join up with that Kyrie Irving, who I'll also get into. But now it looks like that could change course dramatically, okay? Because, again, Kevin Durant will probably not play next season, okay? It's very, very unlikely that he does. So that means he's got to basically sit out a year. Will he be willing to do that on a team like the Knicks, where they can't afford that and they won't be very good no matter who comes in with KD, unless, of course, it's like Kawhi or Kyrie. But, again, what are the chances of that, right? So, to me, I was on board with KD to the Knicks. And Knicks fans, seriously, I feel you guys. I really was on board. But at this point, I really can't see Kevin Durant leaving the Golden State Warriors. He knows them. He knows their staff. He knows the organization can, obviously withstand the fact that Kevin Durant, obviously is comfortable there. And they can withstand the fact that Kevin Durant, while he's rehabbing, the team will still be good, okay? So to me, I see Kevin Durant staying with the Golden State Warriors. Now, whether that's on a 1-year deal when he opts into his player option, or that's on a 5-year deal, I'm not totally sure about that, but I do think Kevin Durant stays with the Golden State Warriors this summer. So sorry, Knicks fans, I don't see it happening. KD stays with the Dubs. Let's move on to Kawhi Leonard, who just won a championship with the Toronto Raptors. And again, Kawhi Leonard was also expected to, leave this summer because nobody thought the Raptors, including myself, would win the NBA championship, okay? But they did so, and now you have to ask the question, how the heck can Kawhi Leonard leave this, okay? Because really, to me, it doesn't make sense. You've got the perfect situation. You just won a championship. You're on top of the world. For the most part, the roster is going to be coming back. Marc Gasol's a free agent. Danny Green's a free agent, but that's about it. So you'll get the roster back. The East looks a little weaker, and so does the Western Conference for next year with, again, the Golden State Warriors being compromised with Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. So, to me, I get it, the Clippers are an option, but with the Clippers, it's the same thing. Again, if you're Kawhi Leonard, you go to the Clippers, and you're essentially the best player on the team, but what else? Who else is going to come to the Clippers with him? In a tougher conference, you saw what LeBron James had to go through with the Lakers. I'm not so sure Kawhi Leonard wants to do that. I'm betting my money that he stays with the Toronto Raptors after he just won a championship with them. So I'm going to go with the Toronto Raptors for Kawhi Leonard. Let's move on to Kyrie Irving. I've got the Nets, Knicks, and the Lakers listed as options for Kyrie, and he is the most likely to me to leave. That's why I didn't even list the Celtics, his former team or his current team, on there. So I'm going to say Kyrie Irving. All the rumors point to him going to the Brooklyn Nets. and I believe it. I think Kyrie Irving's done with the Boston Celtics. He doesn't like Danny Ainge. He doesn't like Brad Stevens. He doesn't like the organization. He doesn't like the team. I don't think he likes living in Boston. He's ready to move on to the Brooklyn Nets. The reason he's picking the Nets over them, I believe, is of course because of the Kevin Durant injury. I could be wrong on that, but I do believe him signing with Rock Nation, firing his agent, it all lines up for me to say that Kyrie Irving is going to the Brooklyn Nets this summer. So let's go with that. Moving on to Kemba Walker. Now, Laker fans, I know you guys want Kemba this summer, and Rob Pelinka and team has been doing everything they can to make sure they can clear the cap space needed to sign another max free agent like a Kemba Walker. But I have reservations, and here's why. The teams I've listed here are the Hornets, Lakers, and the Knicks, because to me, with Kemba Walker, there's a lot of teams that need a point guard, but Kemba Walker is in an interesting situation. His team is not going to be contending for a while, even if he re-signs back, because they can't build the pieces around him because of the stupid contracts Michael Jordan and Mitch Kupchak and the Hornets organization gave to guys like Nicholas Batum, Marvin Williams, Cody Zeller. They're paying just awful contracts left and right. But here's the thing with Kemba Walker. All these years when they should have built around him, when he was underpaid like crazy, they didn't, okay? And now Kemba Walker wants his bag, and I believe he's going to get it this summer. Yes, he could sign with the Lakers and have a better chance at a title, and he could sign with the Knicks too and, you know, have the aura of being at Madison Square Garden in a bigger market. But I think Kemba Walker, and I hate to say this, I think he just takes his bag and stays in Charlotte, and they can offer him like $200+ million for 5 years or whatever. I think he takes that and he stays with the Charlotte Hornets. He's even talked about taking a pay cut, but that makes no sense to me. I want him to go to the Lakers. I really do. But I think he stays with the Hornets and takes the money. So Kemba Walker, back to the Charlotte Hornets is my prediction. Let's move on to D'Angelo Russell, okay? And again, now with Kyrie Irving expected to leave Boston to go to Brooklyn, I don't believe that D'Angelo Russell is going to be re-signed with the Nets, because it doesn't make sense to play both Kyrie and D'Lo together. They're both ball-dominant point guards. They literally play the same position. It doesn't make sense. So you renounce D'Lo, and he's free to go. Now, the teams I've listed are the Nets, Lakers, Bulls, Suns. If I'm taking out the Nets, that leaves the Lakers and Bulls and Suns. All three teams need a point guard. Now, there's been rumors about D'Lo returning back to LA. But you really think he wants to go back to a team that traded him? Possibly, could happen. But they actually don't have the requisite cap space as of right now. They've got about $23 million. D'Lo requires about $27 million with his age experience to be able to sign. So to me, I'm taking out the Lakers as well. That leaves the Bulls and the Suns. And both these two teams have the cap space they can clear up to sign him. But the Suns literally traded away TJ Warren and the 6th pick to clear up cap space. I think they're going for a point guard next to Devin Booker, and I think their guy is D'Angelo Russell, and I think they're going to basically pay him whatever he wants to sign with them. So I want him to go to the Bulls. I love the Bulls. They're my team, but I do think that the Suns will steal him away, and he will sign with the Phoenix Suns, and they get their point guard in D'Angelo Russell. Let's move on to Jimmy G. Buckets, Jimmy Butler. And with Jimmy Butler, it's interesting because, again, he's got the suitors with the Lakers, Sixers as well. But he's in that second tier, and he's expected to follow the first-tier guy. And here's my thing. Kyrie Irving going to Brooklyn, it's been out there for weeks now. But what to me never made sense was how sure he was about going to Brooklyn alone. So to me, it does not make sense for Kyrie Irving to go to the Brooklyn Nets by himself. I think he's coming with somebody. And if you guys remember, back a while ago, Jimmy Butler said in an interview, if there's one player you could play with, who would it be? And he said Kyrie Irving. I think Jimmy G. Buckets is going to the Brooklyn Nets and following Kyrie Irving, because the Nets do have 2 max free agent slots if they renounce D'Lo, which they will if Kyrie's coming. So I'm going to say Jimmy Butler goes to the Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie Irving. Let's move on to Tobias Harris, again, a second-tier free agent. And again, I know the Sixers want to re-sign him if they lose Jimmy Butler, and I do think they will because he was a big part of the team. Although I do think the Mavs could also steal him as well. It depends on who they value more. But to me, again, this is very tough. But if they lose out on Jimmy Butler, I do believe the Sixers will re-sign Tobias Harris. So I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers, but I'm not that sure about this one. I'll be honest with you guys. I would not be surprised at all if the Mavericks threw a good offer at Tobias Harris. Let's move on to Klay Thompson. Klay staying in Golden State. I don't want to talk about it. It's not happening. His dad came out and said he's re-signing with the Warriors. Let's move on to Chris Middleton, who opted out of his deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. And he's expected to be a free agent. And he's going to get some love out there with the Mavs, the Pacers. But the Bucks just built a championship team around Giannis. They know what it takes now. And they know that they need to pay these guys. They're going to re-sign Chris Middleton, in my opinion. He's going back to the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's move on to Nikola Vucevic, the big man out of Orlando. And to me, Vooch, again, I think he's done with the Magic. They have Mo Bamba behind him, who they want to give some playing time to. So he's now returning to the Magic, even though I've listed him here. But I've got the Lakers, Clips, and Mavs. Lakers, it doesn't make sense because you're not going to pay a guy that much money to back up Anthony Davis. So take the Lakers out of it. Leaves the Clippers and the Mavericks. And to me, I do believe that Vucevic, and I should have included the Celtics on here as well, and I do believe Vucevic will go to the Dallas Mavericks. Another potential is the Boston Celtics, who I should have listed on here, but I guess I forgot to. But with that being said, that is what I have for the Dallas Mavericks. And now, of course, we turn the other way and we've got the other free agents. And I'm going to go through the list fairly quickly because these are second, third, fourth tier guys. And again, don't want to spend too much time on them and make this video longer than it needs to be. But if you guys do see here, this is Malcolm Brogdon. I know the lighting there is kind of blocking it out. But I've got the Bucks, Bulls, and Suns as potential suitors for Malcolm Brogdon. Now, of course, the Bulls, they were rumored to offer him 4 years, $80 million once free agency opens up, and they could definitely do that. But to me, again, I believe Milwaukee finally sees championship writing on the wall. They want to capitalize on this opportunity. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep their core together, and I think Malcolm Brogdon is going to have any offer that is signed with another team matched by the Milwaukee Bucks, because you guys have to remember he is a restricted free agent. So Malcolm Brogdon back to the Bucks. Next up, we have J.J. Redick, another free agent from the Philadelphia 76ers. So now they've lost Jimmy. They re-signed Tobias. What happens with J.J. Redick? I believe they lose him. I believe he is headed to the Lakers, who are going to miss out on another third-tier free agent and instead are going to be forced to spread out the rest of their salary cap space by balancing balancing out the money and fixing a roster that way. So you pay J.J. Redick $8 to $10 million. You need some shooting. He could be your starting two guard. Let's get JJ to the Lakers and compete for a championship. Next up, Boogie Cousins. I've got the Warriors and Lakers listed as options for him. And to me, now with the Klay and KD injury, it's clear that he's returning to Golden State. They're going to need him. He's going to possibly be their second leading scorer after Steph Curry. If it's DeMarcus Cousins, you didn't really help yourself too much by playing this year, because you didn't play that well, or playing this year and getting hurt. So to me, he needs another prove-it type of year, sign with Golden State, be the second option, and then go back to the market and test it once again. I got Boogie re-signing with the Warriors. Let's move on to Marc Gasol, and if I have Kawhi Leonard re-signing with the Raptors, Marc Gasol is for sure going to re-sign with the Toronto Raptors as well. There's teams like the Pelicans interested as well. I don't see it happening. Marc Gasol back to the Toronto Raptors. Next up, Al Horford, who opted out of his $30 million player option with the Boston Celtics, if you can believe it. I've got the Lakers, Mavs, Knicks, and Clippers as options. Now, if I go through each one of them, Lakers, again, you're not paying a guy that much to back up AD, and you've got Kuzma at the 4. Mavericks, if I've got Vucevic going there, I don't think Al Horford makes sense. Then you've got the Knicks and the Clippers, and to me, I see the Clippers as the team. They're looking to get Kawhi Leonard. They're probably going to want to pair him with another guy. So even if they don't get him, they're going to go for a second-tier guy like an Al Horford. So to me, the Clippers are the team for Al Horford. Let's move on to Julius Randle. I've got the Pelicans, Nets, Knicks, Jazz. I don't see him returning back to the Pelicans because I don't think the Pelicans are going to pay him. So we take a look at the Nets, Knicks, and I do think the Nets are a potential option. But Julius Randle is looking for the bag, and he is for sure going to want to get paid because he was severely underpaid these past couple of seasons. So I'm going to say Julius Randle probably goes to the Jazz. And the only reason I have the Jazz over the Knicks, because the Knicks are my second option, is because of the fact that the Jazz are going to be declining, I believe, Derek Favors' player option. and using that money to sign Julius Randle. If that does not happen, then it's between the Nets and the Knicks. And to me, at that point, because the Nets will have allocated their salary cap space to Jimmy Butler and Kyrie Irving, I believe the Knicks would take a shot on Julius Randle. And I wouldn't, mind that at all. They need pretty much any position, really. And Julius Randle's a stud at this point, so he's still relatively young. I wouldn't mind that at all. So Julius Randle, if the Jazz doesn't work out, then the Knicks. Let's move on to Patrick Beverley, who's a hot commodity this free agency. A lot of teams are looking for him. He showed out in the playoffs last year. So I've got the Lakers, I've got the Bulls, I've got the Knicks. And we know the Lakers need a point guard. Absolutely need one. So to me, the Lakers will do everything they can to sign Patrick Beverley because they need him. And so to me, you add all that up, you add the fact that they're going to be a championship team, you add up the fact that, they need him, and I do think the Lakers are going to be the team for Patrick Beverley. He'll be a starting point guard there. You cannot turn down that position if you're a Patrick Beverley, a starting point guard job. Because, again, I don't believe the Lakers will get the free agents that they want. So, to me, but the Bulls would be a close second to me. A very close second would be the Bulls because they need a veteran point guard to mentor their young guys. Like a Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Laurie, you get my point. Let's move on to Derrick Rose. Could a homecoming be in line for D Rose back to Chicago? I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to see it happening, and I still have trouble with it. I've got the Bulls, Lakers, and Warriors listed as options for him. But with Patrick Beverley going to the Lakers, according to my prediction, I do believe Derrick Rose comes back to the Bulls because he is exactly what they're looking for right now in a mentor type of point guard, a veteran point guard, who they can start or they can bring off the bench, mentor the young guys, teach them how to win. It's a nice story. D Rose wants to come back to Chicago. His family's from here. He's from here. It just makes sense, right? I didn't think they would do it. And again, it still potentially couldn't happen. But that's what I see happening. And let's move on to the final three. I'm going to go down to Terry Rozier here because I do believe with Kyrie Irving heading to the Brooklyn Nets, the Celtics will match any offer for Terry Rozier, who is a restricted free agent. So let's go to the Celtics there. Bojan Bogdanovic, I do believe he will go to the Lakers because they need some shooting, and he will provide that. And Ricky Rubio, to me, you could potentially think about the Suns, but the Knicks are the only other team with a starting point guard job, so I think Ricky Rubio goes to the New York Knicks. So again, there you have it, folks. The NBA free agency game. I've given you guys every top-level free agent and where I believe they will end up and the reasoning behind it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys want me to do more videos like this. So give it a big thumbs up, give it a big like, and let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree. If you agree or disagree with any of these, let me know down below. Let's talk, let's debate. Again, hit me up on my social media links below for that. As always, thanks for watching.